Good evening, everyone. You're welcome to another edition of Moment of Truth, presented to you from here in London by Truth Life News. And we're here today with yet another guest. Happy New Year, first of all. Let me welcome our viewers, our followers all over the world for this new, beautiful year 2024. My prayer is that every one of us will have it a lot better than we have had in last year. And also our people of Edo, we have or will experience good governance, even much more they have ever had before. Happy New Year once again. My name is Darlington Okwewolo-Ray. I am having a special guest today. I did promise last time that from this January, we'll be bringing in people who matter, people who have a stake, like the ones I would call critical stakeholders in Edo State, in Project Edo. We'll bring them aboard. And today, we have the honor of having the Honorable Minister for Budget and Economic Planning, Edo State, as our guests, a man who has been a forefront for a better Edo among the fighters of a better Edo since I've known him for over nine years now. He has been in this battle for us to have a better and greater Edo. And having him on board today as the Commissioner for Economic Planning, Budget and Economic Planning for Edo State, many people say is a round peg in a round hole. I welcome my brother, my friend, Osilama Okofu J. I don't know if the J comes before Okofu or Okofu after J. And I was going to ask you before now, I'll be your friend for a very long time. What does that J stand for? I don't know what it stands for. You've never disclosed that to anyone. No, welcome aboard, Mr. Honorable Commissioner. I am sure the world is going to know what that J stands for today.
Someday they will know. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Welcome on board. We'll be having, I see you have some guests on board. Can you mute your phones, please? We have, I think Naomi and Emmanuel are from your team, right, Honorable Commissioner?
Yes, Naomi is my PRO.
Okay.
And I think at some point we had the Honorable Commissioner for Water Resources, Assis Suraj. It was on. But I'm sure they'll keep coming on. So.
Yeah. Well, if they could just mute their mic in the meantime, so we can have the Honorable Commissioner only speaking at this point. Okay, thank you very much, Emmanuel, Gina Emmanuel, and Princess Eweka, as well as Naomi, Princess Naomi. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Honorable Commissioner, we've been on this matter. You know, it's like we normally say on our local parlance, not be today. The issue of Edo being among the best states in Nigeria has been a battle cry. You and I, as friends, as brothers, for the past 8 to 9 years, if I could recall. And here you are, I could say, among the decision makers, the shakers and the movers of the society, of the state, those who decide what gets to where and who gets what in the state. And God willing, you are handling a very vital position in the state today, the Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning. My first question to you, I will introduce I have my colleagues who are joining from Abuja. You'll be having Mrs. Yvonne Amanda soon will be joining us later. We'll also be having Mr. Toba. Toba will be joining also. Owojaye will be joining from Benin in a short time. We'll have all of them. They all have their questions. They are colleagues. But I'll make the first shot first, Honorable Commissioner. You've been with the government of Mr. Godwin Obaseki for close to 6 months now, if I'm not mistaken.
4 months actually.
4 months, okay. 4 months actually. You've been there with him for 4 months now. And believe it or not, you are one of those who people look up to in the government. Even in the just being there for 4 months, a lot of noise have been heard about you, about your office, about your ministry, and how, like I said before, you are seen or considered as a round peg in a round hole. We want to talk about the economy of Edo State. We want to talk about post Obaseki, because we know this administration is rounding up. It's on its home stretch to be precise. It's on the home stretch, and you know within 11 months from now, it will be goodbye to Obaseki administration. We want to talk about the economy of Edo. We have so many things we'll talk about today, but basically we'll be centering on 3 major aspects of this administration's economy. Number 1, we'll talk about the agriculture, and where we'll center on the palm, that is the Okomo palm farm in Benin. We'll talk about the power plant, the Oshomo Power Plant Company. We want to look at how these different departments are contributing to the economy of Edo, and also what is the level of employment in these areas. How have this department, because I know, because I've done my findings, my people in Edo State in Nigeria have gone around to do these findings. We have seen in what we could relatively call foundation laying of these economic institutions, so to say, in Edo State. How far have we fared, and how far can we go? Mr. Shilama.
Thank you very much, Ray, for having me. I think for us to give proper vent to your question and the trajectory I see you going, we necessarily need to go historical. You and I know that this governor is referred to as the MOU governor. And to a very large extent, a lot of people do not understand or have a good grasp as to what MOUs are, what they're actually supposed to achieve. They say derisively. But I mean, memoranda of understanding are actually meant to be the starting point, the benchmark, just like you are signing a contract between your corporate organization and another one, or you as an individual with another individual. Or, but when these tickets become very large ticket transactions, like you're talking of multi-billion naira or multi-billion dollar transactions, I mean, certain things necessarily must be put in clear perspective so that nobody is in doubt as to who does what, when, and how. So a lot of these projects that some of them you just mentioned, and maybe others that we'll probably touch on, started that way. That is how the Okomo oil they come into. It's a private sector organization, just like the Oshomo Power Plant you equally mentioned.
Yeah.
And the rest. They're private sector driven organizations. What the state government did essentially was just to create the usual cliche, the enabling environment. If we now need to break that down into different buckets, you then have issues bordering on security, ease of doing business, ensuring that when these companies come to set up shop, they don't go through unnecessary bottlenecks or gridlocks, which again, to a very large extent, is where the restructuring or the organization that took place in this civil service governance, became really, really key. And also in the judicial sector. So a whole lot has happened over time that has brought us to the point that we are now. And the points we expect that we'll get to go, because you talked about the post-Obaseki government.
Absolutely.
So these are essentially foundation laying periods and times.
Yeah.
I had an interview about 2 weeks ago with one of the TV stations, and I referred to that in a few years' time, although people will look back and say Governor Obaseki is the Lee Kuan Yew of Nigeria, or maybe even of Edo State, because how did Lee Kuan Yew, make Singapore what Singapore is today? Singapore is essentially an abandoned military outpost.
Yeah.
British military outpost, as at 1957, but one man was able to bring different ethnicities together, the Chinese, the Indians, was able to bring them together to make Singapore what Singapore is today, and one of the best city-states to live in. It's a very high per capita income standard of living. So if we are looking at Edo operating as a nation state or a sub-national in Nigeria, even when the larger Nigerian society or the economy is not striving towards certain areas, because of the vision of this government, we are hopeful and expectant that even after he leaves office, whoever comes in, will follow along that trajectory. I suspect that we'll get to that point. Yes. But essentially, all these organizations that are in place now, like I said, government has no business in business. What government did was to provide certain facilities, i.e. lands, and of course to put in place certain laws, legal backings to ensure that
one thing you mentioned, Honorable Commissioner, you did mention about Obaseki being branded MOU governor when he started, and this is some of the things we talked about. When I had the opportunity of speaking with him at one point, I told him, MOU governor. There has to be a mechanism for information dissemination for people to know the essence of this MOU, because when you throw it to the public, the common man selling on Ring Road, the Benin City will say, our governor, MOU governor, and without really knowing the nitty-gritty, what this MOU is actually about. And I got to understand through my further inquest that what we are actually witnessing in Edo State right now is a foundation laying for institutional development of different infrastructure and different department agencies and ministries in Edo State. So I recall that Edo State before now was mainly a salary-paying government. Government before now, that we do one thing, and at the end of the day we talk about paying salary, and at the end of the day about 6 or 7 months salaries are being owned, and when they get, so because I'm speaking from a child of a civil servant perspective, because my mom is a retired principal in Edo State, and I could recall days when she would say that she was being owed 6 months, 7 months, and she will come home at times celebrating that they have paid 3 months out of the 6 months, or they have paid 2 months out of the 6 months. And this day you begin to wonder, you want to bring this era side by side with the eras we had before, when civil servants would be crying, monies were being owed, and today we want to know, how can these things be sustained? How can this development be sustained? Now you might say it's not your duty. Well, we have laid the foundation. We have done this. We have done that. We are going. But I tell you, as a critical stakeholder, once, for example, once Obaseki leaves office today, it becomes an elder statesman in Edo State. It becomes a man who everybody will go to seek advice in certain things. And now, are you interested? Is he interested in who takes over from him? considering the foundations that he has laid. We'll go into those foundations later. We're going to discuss them segment by segment later. But it's very critical. The sustainability of what is on ground, building on what is on ground is very, very key. When you talk about development in every state, in any city, any given society, that is the doctrine of continuity must be strictly adhered to. Because if there is no continuity, somebody could just come from nowhere and destroy whatever is being built or what has been laid, a foundation has been laid, and begin to. That is why we say somewhere there will be debt in infrastructure, in health, in education, in all the departments of human endeavor in states. How do we ensure that these things, these foundations that are being laid are built on? Like, I talked about post-Obaseki'S era just now. That is what we should be talking about. How do we ensure these are done?
Okay, thank you so very much. One thing we believe, and we are going to strive to ensure that by the time we are leaving office, to bequeath to the Edo people, is the 30-year development plan, which has reached very advanced stage. Now, when this government came into office some 7 years ago, there wasn't anything like that. It's essentially was just groping, sometimes in the dark, and sometimes by just instinct or intellect. But if I want to believe that if the governor was handed over some documents, which is, a plan, right? A plan is a guide to an action, something that would help facilitate development, ways of doing things. We probably most likely would have achieved far more than we have done right now. So that's something we hope to bequeath, and we believe we will. And we expect and plan that we will back it by law, such that it's a document that whoever comes in will not just have the whim to want to junk and throw in the dustbin, because it becomes a legal document and a working document, as it were. So that's one way that we expect that the foundation that has been laid is sustained. That is one. And then secondly, yes, to answer your question directly, yes, every governor, every president has a desire to hand over to somebody he or she as either mentor or groomed, or someone that he or she perceives has the same kind of thinking, right, as they do. So it's common everywhere in the world, even in the most advanced of societies. I talked about Lee Kuan Yew. Lee Kuan Yew ruled Singapore for decades, and the current prime minister of Singapore today is his son. Such a great man, such leadership prowess and intellect, certainly groomed somebody. His son happens to be one. And he's sustaining what his father put in place. I'm not saying Obaseki'S is going to hand over to his son or something like that, but we are hoping that, with the legal document that we're going to bequeath and the expectation that someone of the same mold as the current governor, someone who understands business, someone who understands how deals are struck, someone who has, who is deft in the boardroom, someone who can negotiate things that would bring good governance and upliftment of the well-being of the other people. That is what this governance has brought to bear. Some of these days require high-level skills of negotiation. They require some experience in the boardroom. And Obaseki, does have quite a lot of that. So that's our expectation, that's our hope, and we're hoping that whoever takes over from him will be able to follow through along that trajectory, and not just somebody who would come and want to be governor for the sake of being governor and wasting people's mandates. So that is it.
Yeah, before I bring in my colleague in Abuja, Yvonne, who has some questions for you. I quickly want to find out. Today, we see a lot of strikes, a lot of developmental strikes going on. And people quickly adduce it to the fact that the governor refused to play politics with development. That was what one of your colleagues, commissioner, told me, that the governor of Obaseki refused. He said he deliberately and consciously refused to play politics with the development of Edo State. Now, you agree with me that things are no longer the way they were. Even if we refuse to develop, the world has developed and gone ahead of us. You understand? It's just that we have no choice but to be part of the development that is going on around the globe. You joined the government 4 months ago. What was the revenue, the IGRO where you joined, or when the capacity came in? Because that's very key. These are some of the indices with which we use in assessing development and how far you have gone. What was the IGRO when Obaseki came in, and what is it right now? And what is your projection with post Obaseki'S administration after he leaves, post Obaseki Edo?
Okay, to a very large extent, the internally generated revenue position was actually not encouraging. We were hovering between 1.8 to 2 billion. But in the last few years, through deft management of the internal revenue services, again, I want to give kudos to the chairman, John Sadi and his team. And some other agencies of government that deployed technology to drive the revenue stream of the government. We've been able to take it to over 4 billion, which is quite remarkable, right? And our expectation is that moving forward, we'll do a lot better, because the technological application is not complete. There are still leakages here and there. Those areas will be plugged. Of course, that again to help to drive the revenue stream. And it's important, because you need money, which is the revenue now, to embark on the projects that you have set out to achieve as a government. A budget is only as good as the application, the execution of the intent, the statement of intent that I am making, which is what the budget is. It's just a statement. This is what I want to do. Your ability to achieve those things is wholly dependent on your revenue capabilities. So given the sense that we have been able to improve from where we were pre-Governor Obaseki, and the expectation that we will take it even higher before he hands over the reign of governance to whoever becomes the governor. The Edo people should expect good things, because prudence is equally important. It's not so much about whether you are earning 10 billion, it's how do you apply the money that you get? It's not even so much about what you earn. It's about prudence. It's about discipline. It's about not wanting to dip your hand in the cookie jar. It's about understanding the fact that you're in government to improve the lives of the people. Because you have the understanding that governance is about the people. Of course, resources, no matter how thin they are, should be deployed towards those areas. But we still want to talk of development. A lot of people just situate development to roads and bridges. Yeah, it goes beyond that. Even your mental development is key. But that's where capacity building does come in. No matter how good your planning or your budgeting is, if you don't have the right set of people to execute those plans and intentions, it amounts to nothing. And this governor has, to a very large extent, improved on the.
But that's one area the government is being held also as human capacity building.
Absolutely.
Training and retraining and retraining.
Exactly.
But we also want to see the application, the implementation how these people who are being trained regularly, this capacity that are being created, are being built, where are they? Where are they fixed? How are they contributing, impacting the economy or impacting the society as it were? Are we just training people and leaving them on the street? Where are they being fixed? The people
no, I mean, these are the people who moved your IGR from a paltry 1.8 to 2 billion to 4 billion. So they are in the civil service. They are mostly in the civil. Edo is a civil service state. Let's tell ourselves the truth. But in the last few years, because of the enabling environment that has been created, we are moving towards industrialization. And so when you have the Osioma power plant, you have the
Okomu oil.
The Okomu oil, you have the Presco oil, you have the different
the modular oil,
the modular refinery, which is the Edo refinery, and all that. I mean, these are organizations that have been set up. You have the ethanol plants at Ologbo. The ethanol plants leverages on the utilization of cassava, which we produce in abundance. Our local farmers produce them in abundance, because that's one thing that Edo State is known for, Gary, right?
Absolutely.
So they are off-takers to that plant, given also that the organization has.
But the fact that this whole industries, as it were, and having the enabling environment to function, to go into production and all that, is something that should be heralded also. But unfortunately, a lot of people are not aware of some of these things. We have allowed the narrative of our governor, the MOU governor, to go too far. So I thought there is the need for us to begin to change the narrative, to rewrite the history of Edo vis-a-vis the Obaseki government, especially now that he is going there. Because we are finally on our own at truth. We are taking it upon ourselves to go and dig deeper and discover that a lot of things are being done, politics aside. A lot of things are being done, foundations are being laid, institutions are being instituted, and these are things that are going to last. We talked about 30 years plan just now, but I see some of these things are things that are going to go far, far beyond 30 years. And these things ought to be made known. They have to be made to resonate on the minds of the Edo.
Yeah, I agree absolutely, and which is part of what we are doing right now.
Yeah.
The truth really is a lot needs to be done in terms of letting the Edo people know what their government is doing. So to a large extent, we're winking in the dark. And you'll be surprised that you talked about the ordinary man on the streets, making mockery of MOU. No, it's mostly the so-called educated, enlightened people.
Unfortunately,
who want to play politics. I mean, they know what it is. They know the way it's done. Even the federal government of Nigeria has now gone MOU. Because I mean that is the way to go. But yes, I agree. There's need for us to, start pushing back and start letting, having, fora like this, so that people can begin to understand and appreciate what this government has done. And we will not shy away from it, because a whole lot has been done. The foundation has been laid. I mean, we will not wink in the dark anymore. And that is the truth. So if you take the ethanol plant, for example, I mean, let's tell the stories around all these. Mm-hmm. I talked about the use of the raw material there is cassava, right? But cassava is now processed and it becomes ethanol. Mm-hmm. What is ethanol used for? Ethanol is used in the beverage and pharmaceutical industries. Now, the fact that you haven't buying cassava from the rural farmer, right, means that you are enhancing their standard of living. And the fact that you're now utilizing that ethanol, right, that cassava to process into ethanol, right? I'm talking of the one in local. Of course, again, there's the do field, which uses same cassava but for starch. Now, essentially, what then that now does is you are creating wealth, you are creating job opportunities for a whole lot of young people. The governor had a media chat a couple of days ago, and he went historical. How years ago a lot of Edo youth, male and female, were in Libya wanting to cross with all the risk. Was able to salvage the situation, brought them back. Because they were hopeless. But you see, with all these industries now being settled, jobs are being created at different levels, and that is very key. Such that people are risking their lives to cross the Red Sea, the Mediterranean, and wherever to go to Europe. If they can earn a living right here with dignity, why would they want to go to a foreign land where, in most cases, they are even treated as third-class citizens? So these are the issues. It's a whole lot of revamping that was done across different pillars, by this government and by this government, and we will give kudos to him. But in truth, his importance, his relevance will become more known after he leaves office, and people will really then appreciate what he has done. But before that time comes, I'm just 4 months in the administration, like I said. In your intro, you said a lot has been said about me. I hope those things said are positive things. But whatever it is, I'll do my little bit, to let the other people know and understand that a lot has been achieved. They were not talked about. They were not.
One of the key components of knowing a serious government or a serious governor or president, so to say, is who are around him, the people who are working with him. So if the honorable, His Excellency the governor is appointing a square peg in a round hole, it means that it's misfit there. But when people say there is a round peg in a round hole, it means that the governor is serious with business, is putting the right people around him, and he wants to deliver. This is not about politics, this is about delivery. So with that, I will want to quickly thank you so much.
Sorry. Before you pass me on to the next person, I need let me be absolute about something. Yeah. This governor is surrounded by very brilliant people. I have colleagues, commissioners who are very brilliant. So it's not as if I suddenly came and it's just who I am. I'm just doing my thing.
That is the point. It takes a man. If there has not been around intelligent people, he will add more intelligence to it. The truth is he has been with great minds who have been helping him where to deliver in his,
and I can reel out some names.
Yeah, so I don't actually doubt that. But what I'm trying to say is that
Malaka, Isokayomo, where they probably will see quite a whole lot of brilliant people.
We will have time with them one after the other as time goes on. But we must thank you most sincerely for being with us. But I'll quickly go to Abuja. I will bring in Ms. Yvonne Madasun Wadia. We take it from here and ask just one question, because we promised the Honorable Commissioner we are taking 30 minutes. We have gone past 30 minutes now. We'll ask Yvonne to take it from here. Yvonne, Abuja, let's go.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, Mr. Osila.
Good evening. How are you today, Yvonne?
Very well, thank you. Okay, I would like to speak about or ask about the Edo Best.
Hello, Yvonne, are you there?
Our link has frozen.
Yeah, that's
technology.
Technology. It's funny.
you say, like I said, at the end of the day, the human capacity is something that you cannot try for.
I'm thinking. My thought is that she really wants to know more about Edo-Best, because she is part of us, and we have actually discussed this before. And I did tell her that you will be able to give a brief perspective about Edo-Best, considering the fact that you joined the government 4 months ago. But as the Honorable Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning, ensuring a stable educational policy is still a way part of having a stable economy. So I'm sure you are able to share your perspective or your thoughts about that.
Yeah, well, okay, fine. But the best person to do this will be the Honorable Commissioner for Education.
Absolutely.
Again, another very brilliant colleague of mine, Joanne Obiawi. She will wow you and blow you out of the water. Yeah, but essentially, I'll speak from the perspective of budgeting. In 2024 budget, we set aside 10% of the budget for education, which is about the highest, or one of the highest in the country. It's not where we want to be, but if you do a comparison between us and most other states in Nigeria, you understand that we are laying a whole lot of emphasis on education, because that's developing. You need to develop the human mind. It is in developing the human mind that issues of technology development, growth will begin to come to play. So it's a program that is anchored within the education sector, and which has attained a global acclaim. My colleague has actually won quite a lot of international awards. She has traveled far and wide, to
and almost all these states in Nigeria are talking about the Edo-Best.
Exactly, even Lagos State, which is
so we'll bring Joanne on board before we'll try and catch her between now and February, so that she talks more about Edo-Best. It's something that is being discussed everywhere you go.
Everywhere. I mean, she travels countries.
We really want to have her perspective about Edo-Best, so that she throws more light on the system. So we will quickly leave the floor for Toba. Toba is in. Are you in Kaduna right now, Benin City? Toba, where are you? Please take it from.
Yeah, I just got in from Kaduna. I'm in Abuja, and I'll be in Benin by tomorrow.
Okay. Let's go. Take it.
Happy New Year, sir. The budget is the clearest indication of the actual will of the government. And I'm sure you've seen many budgets. We are hoping this budget will be tagged finishing strong, because that's the strongest mantra of our governor.
Finishing well, yes.
Home run, finishing strong.
Okay, so but looking at, since from your experience, what do you think is the greatest tweak to this budget that tickles your fancy and you think will have the largest impact on the people and on the legacy of the governor? Thanks, sir.
Okay. In truth, there isn't really anything different from previous budgets that the government has cut. Especially given the fact that, again, like I said, what is a budget? A budget is a statement of intent, right? This is what I want to do based on the resources available. But again, like as an emerging economy or a frontier economy, with a lot of infrastructure deficit in infrastructure, the focus is actually skewed, and we are tending more towards capital side, right? The budget is broken into capital and employment, right? So the capital side of the budget, the capital expenditure, takes a much larger chunk, because we need to close the gap in infrastructural deficit, which is, of course, the international standard. when you now see a budget that is skewed more towards recurrent expenditure, that is what is then stomach infrastructure, right? You cannot eat your future. You have to because you need to plan for generations after you and even those yet unborn. So I will not say there's anything so special. It's just following a certain pattern, a certain trajectory. Of course, we are tending more towards education and health, like I said, quite a whole lot, and roads and infrastructure. We are laying a whole lot of emphasis, along those sides, because a healthy citizenry is a healthy state, right? You need people who are healthy, both body and mind, to be able to mentally and physically to be able to execute whatever projects that you have earmarked or projected to achieve it. So okay, fine. I would say I'm excited with the fact that the educational sector and the health sector are getting quite some reasonable amount of some reasonable chunk of the projects. That excites me.
Honorable Commissioner, we have someone sending a message from. We have two major messages here. Actually, I want to read one for you. We say, Commissioner, thank you, Honorable Commissioner, for bringing to limelight the industrialization that is taking place in Edo State.
Thank you.
You've been able to put in progress in Edo State by the governor. Somebody else sent it. We're actually on live on YouTube also. Somebody sent in message. I will read it. Whether he or she, I don't know how. It's Osayuwa. Osayuwa is sending this from Belgium. And the question is, Honorable Commissioner, you have not been able to tell us, you have not been able to tell us who is this is not supposed to be for you anyway, who is the governor's choice for 2024?
The question was not asked. I'm not going to answer a question.
They are trying to put you on the spot.
They want to drag my leg out. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, Osayuwa, the Honorable Commissioner is not the Commissioner for Information One. He's not the Commissioner Advisor on Politics, and he will not be talking politics. He's talking economy and budgeting. That's his speed.
Thank you for saving me.
Cheap. I mean, how do you say that? Don't let it go and wear the trouser that is not his size. So you don't take that. So I want to let you know that we're actually on YouTube and it's growing. It's streaming on YouTube also, but we're going to be anchoring here, Honorable Commissioner. It's been a beautiful time with you. I want to sincerely appreciate you for this time. It was a short notice we gave, and
Thank you very much.
Although it's because of my personal connection with you anyway, you know.
Yeah, my brother.
Brother to brother. We're going to be also bringing in the Honorable Commissioner for, is it what you call Chris position? Is it formation or communication?
Communication.
Okay, Commissioner for Communication. Then we also look for, we know Miss Joanne is very busy, Dr. Joanne. We will look for her to drag her, we'll beg her. You will also use...
drag her, don't worry. We'll drag her.
And Honorable Commissioner Ogbede, these are the three people we are looking for, and we are confident that we will get them within the month, so that they also come and give us their own perspective and how they are faring in their different ministries and supporting the governor to finish well, who is already on the home stretch. Thank you very much, my brother, my friend, Osilama. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
And I appreciate all your people who joined us.
So I'm seeing quite a whole lot of them.
I saw Anuli. Let me greet to Anuli Okufu there.
That's my wife.
I know she's our own personal wife.
Yes.
I greet her there. I saw Dr. Robosele. I greet you, Dr. Romoseli.
Yeah,
PS
my permanent secretary.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
My very
PS
able permanent secretary, digital permanent secretary.
Is there here? I greet you. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck, Engineer Emmanuel. The two princesses we had in the house, Princess Naomi and Princess Eweka. Thank you so much. We'll do this next time because we're going to bring Osilaman back again. And by then, it will be better. Everybody will be here. We'll have opportunity to give our own views and perspective.
And let me also thank the Honorable Commissioner for Water Resources, Assis Suraja Jubri, for joining us.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Commissioner. I actually saw the name there. Thank you. He's still on our radar. Tell him also, please. Honorable Commissioner is on our radar.
Thank you.
Honorable Commissioner, we are looking for you too, sir.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm available.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will reach out and fix an appointment, sir.
God bless you.
God bless you, sir. Thank you so much, Osilaba.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a moment of truth with Truth Life News right here from Greenwich, London, and all across the globe with our partners everywhere joining us. We appreciate the Honorable Commissioner for Budget and Planning and his crew for joining us this evening. Let's do this again next time. So long. Happy New Year.